yesterday morning, the latest IMF statement came out of Dominica, and it spoke obviously to Dominica trying to restructure itself to the need for them to become more climate resilient in their redevelopment, as I must call it. But there is a sentence in that article that I want to bring to your attention this morning. Now, the deputy of the IMF went himself to Dominica for this visit, for this Article 4 visit. And in his statement, he made it clear that the IMF will be working with Dominica on the issue of the risking and corresponding banking issues to ensure they face the challenges. Let me tell you all what that means. Because organizations, particularly the IMF, they told me this straight, that their emphasis is on diplomacy. Their language is diplomatic. What he said in those words is this, that Dominica is facing corresponding banking relation problems. That's why the IMF spoke to the issue. They won't come out and say, oh, Dominica has corresponding banking relation. No, what are corresponding banking problems? An issue that several of these countries in the region is stricken with, many on the down low. Antigua, for example, Dominica. And what has become very clear, this seems to be something directly related to the whole citizenship by investment issue. I know for about 2 years ago, in Dominica, the main foreign banks sent back every single cent that they received that had come in to pay for citizenship by investments. The banks also dissociated themselves from the lawyers and all the companies that had any relationship, any work to do with the citizenship by investment program. They called them in, they gave them a check for their stuff and said, thank you very much, your account is closed. That's a fact. A lot of this money went into the Dominica National Bank, which to my mind is problematic, but that's a different story. The fact that the IMF deputy is speaking to the issue of corresponding and de-risking in relation to Dominica means that Dominica is struggling because banks, international corresponding banks, now a corresponding bank is a bank that does business on behalf of the country, because a country does not have banks everywhere. So when you want to send money overseas, for example, or when you want to pay for a good or service, the bank in the country has to have a relationship with the bank in New York, in Toronto, in the UK, in Germany. They have to have a relationship with the bank there that will finish the transaction for them. Normally how they do it is this. Monies come in through these banks to the country, all right, and they settle it. They keep some of that money that would come to them. They pay here, and so they would settle off the differences by the monies they collect. But the corresponding banks in the international countries, because of fraud and money laundering and terrorist financing, they say, are now very skeptical about handling some of these countries. And they're doing what is called de-risking. The banks are saying, hey, the amount of work and the amount of money that passes through you for us is not worth the risk. And they have spoken to many of these countries before, but many of these countries continue to operate like, we're sovereign, we could do what we like. And now we are seeing more and more, very quietly, and I believe some of this is part of the whole sanctions issues that is happening under the radar. You know, we could talk tough all we want in the international community. It comes down to these issues. If the banks begin to say, we're not touching monies out from you, you can bet your bottom dollar we have issues. Belize was like that at one time. Oh, they were that kind of flamboyant and flay, and they did their things until practically all of the international banks withdrew banking relations to Belize. Belize, in essence, was cut off from the rest of the world. The Prime Minister, President of I think it was the Prime Minister of Belize, had to jump on a plane and go to Washington to beg, like a child, for something to happen. Nothing happened quickly. Because the international community normally tells the country, we are not happy with what is happening there. The country is sovereign. We're big, they can't tell us what to do. And then they pull the plug. No. What happens is that other countries will say, fine, we will handle your banking for you. But they will handle it at a much higher cost, because now you're tainted goods. Until the international banks bring you back into the fold, you are tainted goods. So other banks and other countries will say, fine, we'll handle it for you, but we'll charge you 2 or 3 times what you used to pay. You know what that means to the citizen? The citizen has to carry that additional cost. Oftentimes, because of ill discipline by the administration in place. This is the reality. But people, all of these things happening, and they stay quiet. They don't say anything about it. But I'm putting it to you. The fact that Tao Zhang, as the name of the IMF deputy is, he has said to Dominica, we can help you fix the problem. You know what that would mean? Dominica will have to make the changes if the IMF is saying to them, you run the risk of jeopardizing your country's economic position if you don't help us to fix this problem. Antigua was prancing up and down the other day, they had the same issues. And we, because we're part of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, we have to pay attention, folks. Because if it hits them, it hits all of us. It hits the whole union. Some people trying to make it, I see people playing on the issue of us losing visa relations with Canada and saying it had nothing to do with the CBI program. Go check again. That's all I'm going to tell you. Go check again.